Welcome back to the RMP, guys. I'm Zachary, your host of this motherfucking podcast, and you can find me on Instagram at the Muscle Hamster. And we are here to question the mess, make some rebel goddamn actions, and start living life on our own terms. So, I just got back from USPA Powerlifting Nationals in Atlanta, Georgia, and it was an emotional roller coaster. It was such a good time. It was so good. There were so many people there that were super strong, inspiring, and you know, it was men and women of all different sizes and strengths and levels, and it was just fantastic. If you don't know who Stacy Bama Burr is, she was there. She's I don't think she lifts anymore. She technically told me that she was retired. So I know she puts on a lot of seminars. She does a lot of talks. She does a lot of programming and training. I know that, but she was there, and she is one of the coolest, nicest people. I obviously only got so many words in, and only talked to her for a minute, but she seems super cool. She puts off a great energy. And I think only the person that I really recognized was C.T. Whitney. I saw him there, did not talk to him, but you know, everybody there in that environment is just, everybody's there to support each other. There's no biases, there's no judgments, there's no hostility. Everybody is there trying to help each other. It's a chaotic environment. There's so much going on. There's so many lifters. There's so much that's trying to get done with warm-ups and making sure the platforms are running smooth and we're getting out of there in time, and it's just great. And I would have to say thank you to all the referees, all of the fucking staff, all the other lifters that have helped me, all the other coaches that had no reason to help me, but they did, and help my teammates. And thank you to my teammates for being out there. Kristen S. says on Instagram as Mother Effing Girl Power, and Lynette Herzik. Her Instagram handle is Lynette. Ooh, I'm gonna have to double check. I'll put it in the show notes. But yeah, overall it was a fantastic time. I got a new overall total for the squat, bench, dead. I didn't have a PR on squat, but I had a new PR for bench, and I had a new PR for deadlift, and it was just a good day. I was there for like 4 days, and my anxiety was so high. I don't think I actually got my body to rest, like slow down, until I got back home into Idaho. But it was such a great experience, and powerlifting, you know, you show up at a place like that and you understand why you do what you do, why it was worth all the anguish, and why it was worth all the monotony and the tension and the doubt working up to that point. And I'm so glad I did it. And so this next episode is just a conversation that I had with a good friend, close friend of mine, who is the owner of Until Death Barbell Company. And we talked about a bunch of things. Actually, we went over a lot of just typical things that are going on with him and kind of going on in our minds right now. We discussed the brand and the details of his journey a little bit, and the future of the UDBC, and we talked a little bit about men's misguided identity, the challenges of powerlifting, and a little bit of his past and his military initiation, and how he came to be who he is, and why he does what he does with the Until Death Barbell Company brand. And it was a good talk. It was a necessary talk. It was a therapeutic talk. Just an informal interaction with a good buddy. And if you guys are looking to listen to something just nonchalant and off the cuff, and just listen to a conversation and, you know, a little bit of theoretical discussion and foundational philosophical ideas about life in general, then this would be a good, smooth podcast to listen to. So without further ado, and without too much more than the USPA Nationals updates, I hope you guys are doing fucking great. Life is awesome right now, regardless of the messy situations that we're in. And I think there's a lot less that's actually going on. There's a lot less drama than the media and politicians perceive. Life isn't as bad as we think it is. There's just, we take in so much information and we assume that that is the chaos that is going on around us. And if you look to yourself, if you look inside, if you're self-aware, if you're incorporating your own philosophical ideas and you're living life with intention and you're going after goals and you're not sitting around and you're taking some action, then life is generally good. And there's not a whole lot to it that makes it good, rather than just pushing forward, making progress, making your own confident, independent decisions about life. And I think what makes life good in general is doing it for yourself first. And beyond that, I think that action matters. And now I'm just kind of going in rounds. But you guys can probably hear Thor snoring. It's a little bit late tonight, but I wanted to get this one up and going. Stay rebel-minded. Keep on being skeptical. Keep on questioning. Now let's get into this podcast. Episode 98. Episode 98, Until Death Barbell Company and Other Things, with Nick Esposito. Love you guys. What's up, dude?
Oh man, you got all
Sorry.
that. Oh, you're good, dude.
We just changed our internet provider. So
Did they come around and get you? They came around my neighborhood and tried to get me yesterday.
What do you mean?
Like there was like two basically like kids that are walking around with like a notepad and they're trying to make you convert from from Sparklight to something else.
CenturyLink?
Yeah, it was CenturyLink that was coming around and they're like, "Well, what do you pay for this?" And I was like, pay like $60 a month." And they're like, "Oh shit. Okay, well, I guess then it was like they were combined with AT&T, and then they were like, "Well, who does your phone bill, or how much does your phone bill cost if you don't mind me asking?" I was like, "I don't know, like $70 a month or something like that." And they're like, "What?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm military, like T-Mobile has a good plan." And they're like, "Oh shit. Okay, well, have a good day." And they left. 2 minutes.
How old were they though?
They're probably in like their early 20s. They had like
Yeah.
the little like notebook, and they were like drawing on it like, "This is how Sparklight does it. This is what you're looking at." And then they're like, "But this is how CenturyLink does it." And they were like trying to like get me to get them. So I was like, I'm good.
You know, I don't know. Maybe the door-to-door sales thing still works. It would never have worked for me. Like I don't know. Maybe with rejection, but I'm like, I never feel salesy in anything that I do. I don't want to ever feel salesy in whatever I do.
Yeah.
Like I think people will actually come to you with something that they feel is more authentic and natural and like necessary and valuable.
Yeah.
But it's hard because there's this veil of that blurs the line between want and need, right? Mm-hmm. Which America is like, first world problems, right? So
switching cable providers and internet providers.
Yeah. Rough stuff, man.
Yeah.
Rough stuff. Well, so Bryden he used to work for Apple, and he's told me about the complete bullshit that he's had to go through with people about the stupidest things, you know? I'm sure. And he was telling me just the other day that he actually went through an issue with a guy, like because of COVID and because manufacturing has fallen behind, like because of, less employees, everybody's sick and the COVID restrictions and everything. They haven't been able to actually bring in more product, like legitimately, like there's no product within the store.
Yeah.
And some dude came in and said, "Hey, like I want to pick up one of these MacBook Pro or something like that." And he's like, "Well, it's great, but we don't have any here." And the guy got pissed. And the guy like gave him a death threat because he's like, my money's right here. You're going to go back and you're going to get this thing. So I don't know if the guy thought that he was lying or he just thought that he was God. I don't know. But that's kind of the crazy shit that I don't understand, man. Like, at what point are we so entitled but so blind that we can't see the simple truths about what's going on, you know?
Yeah. I don't know.
Crazy,
I feel like we kind of had that conversation yesterday about kind of like with Kristen about like tensions building up and people just like exploding on other people. And like, it seems like it's more and more. And like, she's saying she's getting more and more comments of, like on her Instagram page. And it's like, everyone was bottled up for so long. And I think like with the tensions in the US and everything that's kind of going on politically and everyone's just like so mad, but they're taking it out in the wrong ways. And it's like, I don't know, like, and these people are probably not like working out and doing like their due diligence, like trying to get their life better, like trying to, as Jordan Peterson says, make your room. But in all honesty, like, I don't know. I see like, I feel like I see it more and more. Like I've never got it on my page, like on my personal page, Until Death. Like I've gotten it a couple times on Until Death where it's like, wow, that shirt would be cool, but it's terrible now because you did this, that, and the other, and you should have done it this way. And I would have bought 10 shirts, And I'm just like, no, you wouldn't have. You wouldn't have bought 10 shirts. Like, you fucking liar. Like, what are you talking about?
No, but when I get in depth in my reading, like there's things that I think that encompass me that make me the best version of myself. It's when I read books and articles, mostly books, because I'm at a slow pace. I'm not on any sort of time schedule or anything. And when I write, and then when I speak, even if it's just, even if I record something and I don't actually put it out on the podcast or anything, those three things make me the person that I want to be. Right. And they make me think deeper and more clear, and they make me think more in depth about things. So when I'm not on track with that, I feel foggy all the time. Right. And but it's these simple things that make me curious the most sometimes, because if Jordan Peterson says, I think, who's that general? There's a military general that said something like that too. Very similar. Oh, Make Your Bed. Yeah. I have his book right there.
Oh, he's like a Navy SEAL. He did the, what's his name? He did the graduation ceremony, that famous talk. I read his book. I can't read it. Yeah, I read it. It was very short. Like you could. Yeah.
William H. McRaven.
Yeah, I would have never guessed that, but his speech is awesome.
Dude, that speech, I think that's the reason I bought his book. That's the coolest part about it. Is like, and even I like short reads because I feel like they're more concise.
Yeah.
And they kind of get the point across. But yeah, dude, that I agree with that. I think my point was being like, I think their emphasis is it causes you to take a little bit of pride in something small, something is very controllable, because if you do have a messy room, then what do you get pissed at? Like you can't find things in the room, whatever, or, you stub your toe on things because your room's a fucking mess. And then what do you blame? Like, where does the anger come from? Like, it can only go toward yourself. So it's almost like this very basic, foundational, simplistic idea that if you can control that, then you can actually control bigger and better things and have a direction to put energy rather than just being angry. Because you can be angry at your clothes. You can be angry at the kids' toys that are sitting around. Like, what are you gonna be angry at? And it's funny how people can direct that anger at some inanimate object rather than themselves. Because most of the time, isn't it just people just mad at themselves?
Yeah, but no one wants to come to that realization. Like, it's everyone else's.
It sucks.
Fault. Yeah, it definitely sucks. It's hard to. It's not like not a lot of people are introspective, and people don't want to go down. Like, it's scary to go down those kind of rabbit holes of like what's actually going on with you, like you personally. Like, why are you lashing out? Like, is there some deep seated, like, I don't know, like childhood kind of drama, drama that's going on or did go on, or like what's actually happening? And people don't want to like figure that out, because it's scary, man. It's scary to be like, shit, I do this, that, and the other. Like I'm a liar, I'm a cheater, I'm a stealer, like all these things, and they don't want to come to that realization.
No, I agree. Um, my own belief is that's the core of pretty much everybody's issues. It's very different and it's very diverse and it's very complicated, complex. And it's very hard to be your own therapist. I really think that you need a good outside view, but I think that you can control a lot and you can handle a lot on your own. But I think it really comes down to a lot of that. Like it is your lack of control on life influenced by things that you suppressed or have repressed through childhood trauma, whatever that may be. And it doesn't even have to be big things, you know, like your influence as a kid it starts so small, and then it grows and grows and grows as your community grows and your relationships grow and they're more numerous. And so it's like all that more experience coming in is going to put more and more pressure on your inner circle of what your character is and what your belief is and what your passion is about the world itself. Mm-hmm. And so I feel like a lot of us, this is, including myself too, is like you allow that bubble to get super constricted and smaller. And that compression creates all of the energy that comes out in a negative manner, right? Because you're allowing the outside world to compress you more and more and more. And then it almost seems like the adult journey is to push back and like filter all the things that come in and create a more and more solid interior, like this density that holds you to your own, I don't know, self-proclamation or your own legend or your own decisions of what you are and what you want to be. Mm-hmm. But it's almost like it's so internally complicated that we blur the lines between what's real and authentic and what's superficial and what's for validation, shallow validation. Mm-hmm. Like how can we make sure that we're accepted by other people? And I think it constantly is like a balancing point of whether it comes off real and from your core, which is emotionally interactive with other people, or whether it comes off superficial and it just comes off as a sell. And, people may like you or buy your product only because of the value of your product rather than the value of your soul. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, okay. So like Until Death, like you've done really, 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 really well so far with the brand. I think it's fucking awesome. Like the turnover that you have, or the repetition that you have with the brand and like always building something new is mind blowing to me. And what you've been able to do with it so far has been fucking mind blowing to me. Mm-hmm. So I think talking what we were about before, how do you keep any of that stuff from affecting what you're trying to do with the Until Death barbell brand?
So like my insecurities and my faults, like how does that, like it doesn't bleed in? Or
yeah, because like I told you that one day that we were discussing in the gym, I was like, you and the other two guys are so influential to me because you guys have something that I don't. You guys have this ability to this consistency and this discipline that I have a very difficult time with. Yeah. So it intrigues me and makes me very curious because we all have things internally that fuck with us, right? Mm-hmm. So what is it like for you when you build this brand and you have feedback, you have negative feedback, you have all these things that could or could not stand in your way, and you just fucking blow through them?
Yeah, I think, well, it's interesting because it's like you have so many people, like even if you reach out, if you reach out to 10 different people, they're going to tell you 10 different things about a certain image that I'm trying to put out. And I've done that before, right? It's like, I like this certain image, but I don't know, like, I want to see the feedback of like, if I put these words, like, do you know what this image stands for? Like, does it mean something deeper to you than like, maybe, because if I put, like I might see an image and I might think of it this way, but other people will see it a different way. Does that make sense? Like the face the mirror or something. Like, do people actually get what that's actually trying to say to people? So like I could shotgun out to 10 different people. They'll give me 10 different responses. And then it will be like, well, I think that you should put it on this, like on a tank top. And I think that you should do it on a blue shirt, not a red shirt or a green shirt or purple. So it's like, you get all this feedback, and it's like, at the end of the day, it's like you have to make a decision. And realistically, like, I make a decision for myself. I think of it as like, what would I want to wear? Like, yeah, it's kind of like a selfish notion, but at the same time, like, if you keep asking people for what they want, like, everyone's going to give you a different answer, and you would never come up with anything. Like, it would just be all different and nothing that really, like, at the same time, like when you're building that brand, like when you were building your brand, it's like, you got to do what's best for you and keep it authentic, because like people will start reading through the lines and seeing that like, oh, your brand is fucking bullshit. Like, you don't actually it doesn't stand for anything. Like, you're just putting out what I thought other brands were putting out, which is just like, me personally, with Until Death, it was like, I just want to put out stuff that I would wear and I think that was cool and that's badass. And like, if people love it, cool. If people don't love it, okay, I have something cool to wear too.
It's yeah, I mean, it's so easy to create our own story, I think, and I think I definitely had that problem when I started, definitely my second one, because my first one flopped. And if nobody knows, I had 2 apparel brands before I even started the podcast. The first one was Lycan, and the second one was Chaos Creed. But anyway, I remember being super, super passionate about the first one. And I enjoyed the hell out of it. I was on such a fucking high, man. Like, looking back, it's something, it's been tampered down a little bit. I think it's positive and it's negative. It's brought me into the reality of what it takes. But it also discouraged me a little bit, because I think I didn't know how to get that feedback and how to keep, stepping forward regardless of what was going to happen. I was waiting too much on what was going to happen from the external factors, to make me feel good about what I was doing so that I could push out again, rather than just continuing to push myself, and to always like be putting more and more stuff out to see what catches, like if you put out one line, how long are you going to wait if it's the wrong bait or in the wrong current or whatever, or, because it seems like with Until Death, you've pushed it, like you're constantly throwing out lines. Like you've got 5 or 10 lines going up, like fishing lines at one time, and you're reeling in what actually catches. Or what actually gets hooked, I guess. You'd see about that.
And it's interesting because it's like, excuse me, a lot of the time, like, actually, I've been pretty lucky that like a lot of the lines have hit. But there's some lines, like we kind of talked about, like, how do we walk that line of like, being authentic to yourself, but also putting out stuff that people want to wear, right? Like, I've put out images and shirts or apparel that I thought would be cool and like I loved, and then it didn't hit. And then I put out stuff that I was like, it didn't come out as good as I thought it would. Like, we'll just see what happens. And then it blows up, and it's like, okay, like I can't, and there's no single like rhyme or reason for either, right? Like, there's not like one, like, okay, a lot of people like Reapers, and that's like a pretty big theme of Until Death. Like, I don't know. That usually hits. But like other things that like, there's other things that you would think would hit and they don't, and then vice versa. So it's interesting to walk that line of like, okay, we'll see what happens. So.
Well, and what do you want to push it into? Because God, how long have you, how long has it been since you started?
It'll be a year next month.
Holy shit, already?
Yeah.
Oh, damn. So you're coming up on a year.
Mhm.
So what do you want to push? Is there something that, that's that is still feeding the brand at the core, or are you starting to branch off into new ideas? Like, where do you want to take the message? And if we were to specify like what that message is, what is that for
Well,
you? What is that for you?
I've always been told that you got to fall back on your mission statement for any business that
Yeah.
your mission statement is the most important thing for a
Mm-hmm.
business, right?
Mm-hmm.
Everyone should be making a business statement or a mission statement if you have a business. And, our mission statement, it took me a while and I knew that I wanted to do some like, I did this. I wanted to make a t-shirt company because I'm obsessed with t-shirts. Like that's just
Mm-hmm.
what it comes down to. I've always collected t-shirts. Like it's a weird hobby of mine. But I was like, okay, I can make some cool t-shirts and we'll push them out. So, but I also wanted to help athletes and make like a team because I feel like, as we talk about, like there's not a lot of, especially like coming from a military background, like I saw a lot of people when they got out of the military, they lost that sense of purpose or like,
Mm-hmm.
when you're in the military, you have that like team identity. And then a lot of people got out and they're like, what do I do now? Like there's
Mm-hmm.
no one around me. No one has the same like ideals. And I was like, well, if we make like an until death, like we can have a team and, it falls back on that. But falling back on our mission statement. So our mission statement is to help athletes and to support athletes in competitions through hardcore sayings and traditional esque artwork and lifting, and that was it. And that's kind of where we fall back to is that all I really wanted to do was to whatever money we got in, we were going to shotgun it back out to competition. So
Mm-hmm.
like in the last year, man, we've sponsored like probably 20 plus competitions already, whether it's
Oh
strongman,
shit.
powerlifting, we've had Highland games, like, so we've done well on that part of our mission. And then as being part of the team, we're starting to get more athletes underneath us. And we've been able to like for instance, Alex, like we gave him some money to help him fly down to when he was doing the Florida strongman comp.
Mm-hmm.
So trying to help our athletes because the shit ain't cheap anymore.
Dude, it's not.
Especially competing. Like you're looking at like airfare and like a lot of our, we have some strong motherfuckers on our team, but if you're not like the top of, there's not a lot of money in strong. Well, they're starting to become a little bit more money, but there's not a lot of money in strongman or powerlifting or Highland
Mm-hmm.
games or whatever. So it's like, if you can help these athletes, like if until death can just be a stepping stone, like I can help whoever that's on the team, like get to this competition and then they get recognized by like, I don't know, SBD or whatever, dude.
Mm-hmm.
And then they sign a big contract with them, dude. Cool. Like, I'm
Yeah.
glad that we could help you do that. I think there's enough space in the world for everybody, for every business to thrive. Like, I'm not one to be like, oh, he's on the until death team. Like, you can't sign anywhere else. Like, you're forever ours.
Yeah.
Like, I don't give
Yeah.
a fuck about contracts or whatever, So, but a vision forward. I kind of take one step at a time. It's cool that it's getting bigger by the month, and that it's really cool to see that people relate to what we're pushing out, and that's really all we could ask for. But looking forward, like we got a lot more merch that we're going to push out. Like I have like a list on my phone when I like see something cool or like think of something, like I put it in real fast and I have like 100 things that I can push. It's like it's ridiculous. So slowly but surely we'll push stuff out. We'll do other like different stuff now, but and I'm sure that it will grow into the future, but there's definitely some cool stuff that we're about to push out now in the next coming months into the summer. So that'll be cool.
Well, I think that's definitely the perk of knowing you personally is I at least get to see the next couple iterations before anybody else does.
Yeah.
It's cool that the team kind of gets to see what's coming.
Hmm.
And those ones are, the ones I get excited about. You for
Yeah.
sure know
For
the ones I
sure.
get excited about. Uh, but yeah, dude, I mean, it's, I don't know. Maybe we overcomplicate things a little much. Listening to you talk about it, it's like we said this is what we're gonna do, and this is what we continue to do, and we don't try to make it too big or too obnoxious. We just do what we're used to doing, and we make changes, and like we put out content that, content and apparel that seems appealing, and go from there. Dude, maybe that's a key. I mean, because your
Yeah.
growth in the last year has been fucking amazing. It's been awesome.
Yeah, and I think it's something to say about like, dude, nothing is ever going to be perfect,
Mm-hmm.
and people got to
Yeah.
realize that. And content is kind of key nowadays. Like, obviously, I'm not going to put out shit
Mm-hmm.
like just something that's terrible, but at the same time, like, you can't spend X amount of time doing like a post. Like, for instance, like Instagram is huge for us. So it's like, if I spend I'm not going to spend 3 hours trying to make a post. Like, most of our posts come from my phone. Like, I just take a picture off my camera on my phone, and then I'll edit it a little bit on
Mm-hmm.
Photoshop or whatever, the Lightroom, and then put it up. It doesn't have to be perfect, but like,
Mm-hmm.
people will get the message behind it. But I think people are, it is, I mean, it's scary starting anything new, and it's scary putting yourself out there, right? It's scary to be like, this is who I'm about. Like, what happens if people don't like it? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and that's one of the big things that stops people from doing whatever it is they want to do. Like, okay, you're being vulnerable by putting out this. Like, what happens if I put out Until Death and it was a laughing stock and no one liked it?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I can't, I thought about that when I put it out, and then I was like, with anything, and I was like, fuck it, why? It doesn't matter, dude. Like, I like it. Like, if that's all that, if I spend X amount of money and no one likes it, but I can wear this cool t-shirt, like, okay, that's all that it was about. Like, I just want to put out cool t-shirts. Like, that was it. But kind of just can't be scared. One foot in front of the other, and if it didn't hit, then so be it. I'm not,
Yeah.
I mean, realistically, like, I used to be that person that was scared of what I like most of my adult life, until like, realistically, until I got into the military. I was one of those people that I was scared about what people thought of me.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I gotta go, I don't want to be, I don't want to be that, not like a loner, but like, I don't want to go against the grain. I don't want to like stir up too much. Like, I'll just go with the people or whatever, like, and I got in the military, and it kind of changed everything. Like, I don't, like, who gives a fuck what people think of you? Like, who
Mm-hmm.
gives a fuck like, put yourself out there. We got one life. Like, okay, be authentic, be you, man. That's all you can be. Like,
Mm-hmm.
but I think it's a tough realization, and I think it's tough to say that, or to walk that path of authentically being someone, being who you are, not being swayed by the masses, and yeah.
Do you think that there was anything uh in your history, I guess, that kind of, because obviously it seems like a lot of guys that get into the military, like it affects them in a bunch of different ways.
Mm-hmm.
I think, that discipline and that structure and being pushed to the edge of,
Mm-hmm.
your psychological limits.
Yeah.
That how can you not uh how can you not realize how much you can overcome, I guess,
Yeah.
so I guess I don't know you from before that, before you being a military guy. What was it? What was it like? And what was that internal conversation like? If because sometimes I think we don't realize the internal conversation. Like, people's self awareness is so untapped. It's so like, you don't realize that you talk to yourself and that you
Mm-hmm.
talk yourself in and out of things.
Yeah.
So what what the fuck was Nick like before military, before you started taking control of things, man?
And there's a funny story, and I don't think I've ever told this story before, but
Oh
I was
yes,
thinking about it.
perfect.
I was thinking about, well, this is like a great example of like kind of not going against the grain and like, so I listen, like Until Death is heavily influenced by like hardcore punk music. And one of the, I got into that with my buddy when I was in middle school. And then, my favorite hardcore band is Terror. And
No idea.
the first song that I ever listened to from them, it's called Overcome. That's the song name. And that's the first song that really got me into hardcore music. And I got that was my first tattoo. I got it across my chest, Overcome, the same like the same it's what's it called, Old English font. The first letter and the last letter are capitalized, just like the band's name is, Terror. So I put Overcome across my chest just because of the band, just because of the song. Like it represented so much. Like I think I got it when I was like, I don't know, probably 18, 19.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, I remember like previous conversations, and I remember like I was 20, like in my like early 20s, and some guy like looked at it and they're like, Overcome, what the fuck what does that even mean? Like why would you get that tattoo? And I remember like I gave him some bullshit answer. I didn't even like give him the truth. I was just like, yeah, it's just about life, man, and like blah 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 blah. Like I've gone through a lot, da da da. Like, and I didn't even tell him like, yeah, this is because I listen to hardcore music. Like this is the first, but I was scared to tell someone that because I thought they would judge me. And I don't know why. Like I thought about this a couple days ago, but I was like, I remember my buddy coming up to me and he was like, dude, that's not what that means. That's because you like that song. And I was like, yeah, man, but it could have like multiple meanings or whatever. He's like, dude, stop bullshitting people. Like, why? Like, he was the guy that me and him got into hardcore music, but he was like, why are you even like, why are you telling that to people? Like, just be straight
Mm-hmm.
up with them. But I now, like, looking back on it, I'm just like, yeah, I definitely didn't want to be judged by people because people would be like, well, what's hardcore music? What the fuck's that? Like, and it's just like a small like sample, but it's interesting to look back on that and be like, why? Like, why would I even do that?
Yeah. So the thing about that is like we kind of make our own ideas. We're identifying ourselves. Like that's kind of life, isn't it? Is trying to figure out who we are, what we're about, what we want to do, what we think value actually is. And that's something I've committed to since I was like 28, was like, what is my mission? And it 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 did, and it still can be exhausting, detouring over and over and over again, like trying to find your center. So I'm almost at the point where I'm like, I don't give a fuck like what anybody's trying to be, because it's really, really hard to decipher the code of what your mind's gone through, and what your expectations for self is, and what your expectations for community is, and like relationships, all of those things. So I think it definitely takes a don't give a fuck attitude to help you decide who you are, so you're not restricted by what you think you have to be. But even when we decide on something, we may decide on it because the way that it makes us feel, or the way that it makes us what we think something actually means. And then once it's interrupted by somebody else and they say something like, that's not what that means, you're like, well, it fucking does to me, man. And you don't really say anything, because you've seen some of my stuff, and I have these tattoos on my forearms. The one says until my heart stops, and the other one says death will come. And I know in the back of most people's minds, whenever they see these things and whenever they hear them, they're like, oh, that's kind of dark. It's kind of fucking dark.
Mm-hmm.
but they're actually super hopeful, that like it's just it's just a motto and a creed to me to never stop trying to figure out whatever this is, because I may fail over and over. I may never get to financial success where I want it. I may not be able to do all the things that I want to do. But if I'm constantly in an effort to push forward and try to figure it out, even when it's stressful, even when it's embarrassing, even when it fucking sucks and I'm falling off the wagon 10 different fucking times, at least I know I'm not giving up on it. And so I know that I've thought of things that mean something to me, and I'm scared to put that out there because I also think that I might be wrong, or it might sound weird to somebody else, even, like the way you were talking about overcome and what that actually means. If it meant something to you differently than the way it maybe meant something to a bunch of other people, but does that really fucking matter?
Yeah. Yeah. They was, I think the moral of the story that I was trying to put across is like being authentic, and you, like, dude, who gives a fuck what people think about you? Like, if it means something to you, then it means something to you. Like, it doesn't have to, it doesn't matter what it means to other people, or whatever they take it as, like, whatever, like, and it's that same thing of, and the tattoos are kind of funny because it's like someone can get a tattoo and it doesn't mean anything, and then people will be like, well, why would you get a tattoo that doesn't mean anything? Like, that's gonna be on your body forever. Yeah. Or the opposite of like, okay, I'm gonna get this tattoo. Like, I've had a lot of conversations with people that don't have tattoos, and they're like, okay, but like, I'm building this tattoo, and like, I have this bird, and it was like, means like my mom, and then like I have this star, and it's supposed to represent the North Star to like keep me going forward, and then I have this cross that like it represents God, and then it's like, and then I'm like, okay, like, when are you going to get it? And they're like, I don't know, like, I need to keep like thinking about it or whatnot. So it kind of goes like both ways, that like, dude, you can get tattoos and it might not mean shit, but it looks cool. Like, okay, that's cool too. But like, okay, your tattoo means something. Oh, that's cool too. Like, whatever. If you like it, you like it. Like, fuck what people think.
No, I was listening to Joe Rogan the other day, and he was talking about, they actually ended up talking about tattoos a little bit. And he was like, I just like it. I just like it. It doesn't mean anything. I just like it.
Yeah.
And maybe we get too carried away with thinking everything that has to be, especially in the state or the age of information. Everyone has put this pressure on everybody else to be perfect and to be deep and to be valuable. And sometimes like you're pulled to something just because you don't even know if it means anything or not, but for some reason you're pulled to it. And shouldn't that be enough?
Yeah.
Well, and the tattoo thing, it's like, maybe people are building this thing because they think that maybe they're afraid. It's just another factor of fear. Maybe they're afraid if it doesn't mean something that, they will hate it when they were, by the time they're 60 or 70 or whatever.
Yeah.
I think I was a little afraid with mine. Like, mine's at this point, I got to get it reworked because it's trash. But the same purpose stands, and it's the same purpose I tell everybody every time that I have to explain it or need to explain it. Yeah, dude, just another factor of fear, it sounds like.
Yeah, it just goes full circle. I've kind of came to a revelation with that. It was like, because I used to think like, why would you get something on your body? Like when I was young, it was like, everything's got to have a meaning. Like, why would you put something on your body that like doesn't mean anything? Like, well, why the fuck not? Like, why, if it's cool, like, and it looks cool, okay. Like, anything gonna look cool when you're 80 and you're fucking sagging, like your skin sagging? Like, probably not, but like, looks cool now. So whatever. Like,
dude, speaking of, I'm going to switch gears here just because I want to. I just saw a post of a guy that is 70 something. And he squatted 474, I think, in knee wraps. And sometimes it's like, I'm like right now, before next Saturday, before nationals, my lower body just kind of aches. Everything's tight.
Yeah.
You know how it feels.
Hmm.
My glutes and my knees and my quads, everything's just tight. Even my calves were tight after hiking this morning. And you kind of get that thing after you're so exhausted or something like, oh man, how long am I going to do this? How long can I do this? How long do I want to do this? Am I doing this because, because I'm part of a team, or am I doing this because I really, really want it? And then I see this guy that's 74 that's squatting almost 500 pounds. I'm like, okay, whatever it is, I just got to keep moving. Like I just have to keep moving. Maybe I'm not powerlifting at 74. Maybe I am powerlifting at 74, but that's inspiring as shit to see somebody that can still move that weight that, dude, a 20-year-old couldn't do.
Yeah.
If you're not moving your body, and you and I both know how important it is to move your body, how it affects you spiritually, mentally, physically, obviously, how much that really freaking does for you.
Yeah, it's something to say about that's the sport. Like that's the beauty of powerlifting or working out with weight equipment and mostly powerlifting. I mean, you could do bodybuilding, I guess, but but it's a lifelong.
There's a little bit of judgment
sport.
there. There's a little bit of judgment
and that's the thing, and like that's the thing that is kind of crazy to me. Like, because you're seeing a lot more, and it might just be because of the invention of social media, but like I feel like you see a lot more of like I see like 70 and 80-year-old lifters like lifting a lot of weight. Mm-hmm. Like I don't think that was like a thing like 20 years ago.
Yeah.
But like I think our generation, like coming up, like we're gonna still be doing that. But that's the beautiful thing about the sport is like you can do this until you're literally dead. Mm-hmm. And so yeah, we'll see where, I don't know. I'll probably do it until I'm dead. Let's be honest. I haven't stopped. I've been doing this since like middle school, and like 20 years later, I'm still here. So
yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, same. Like I started out in high school, Olympic lifting and powerlifting. And then once I graduated, I didn't really know what I was doing. So I just kind of turned to a gym bro. Mm-hmm. And then I didn't actually start getting into powerlifting again until 2017. Mm-hmm. So, and then I didn't lift for like 3 years because of injury, but it's been a trip. And I think people underestimate physical capability or physical potential, I guess is the better way to put it. And it's almost the cheapest way to keep yourself disciplined and be a fucking therapist. Right. I think that any sort of consistency, even within programming or just maybe just working out in general, has kept me from falling into a pit, generally speaking, I remember when I very first started on a program again in 2017, I was like at my end, like I was at my string's end, like my heart was barely hanging together. And dude, I spent 6 hours at the gym doing kind of like a mock meet and testing my maxes. And it was the most euphoric, most freeing thing I feel like I've ever felt in my life. And what's up, my freaky listeners? What do you do on a daily basis to be better? The highest goal in my life is to become my best in my passions, whether that be in business, in this podcast, in my social groups, in my relationships, and as an athlete. We all wear what we love inside the gym. We like to represent who we are through what we wear. And Until Death Barbell Company is so in line with who I am. For me, it's how I feel that makes me love my sport. And their apparel gives tribute to that. Their designs are epic and they vocalize the importance of strength inside and out. Until Death is a veteran-owned company that builds products for athletes that help us connect to our sport, as well as giving back to the strength community through those athletes and competitions. They support the intensity and passion for heavy lifting and the people actually living it. If you want to check out their one-of-a-kind apparel and see how they connect to the unique feelings of strength sports, go to untildeathbarbellco.com. And while you're there, use the code REBELMINDED to get 10% off your purchase. That's untildeathbarbellco.com, and tell them Zach from the RMP sent you. I think those things only happen a few times ever. Like you have your ups and downs, but there's something about overcoming even just internal things that can completely change the way that you see the world and the way you see yourself. And I think that's only happened a couple of times for me. But I honestly think that's why I stay attached to powerlifting too, is because it continually gives me something, even if it's just IV drip speeds, you know, that little drip every once in a while to keep me going and keep me from going insane and becoming a depressed fucking mess.
Well, there's so much that you can take away from powerlifting and put it into your life. Like the goals that you set, like, are also goals that you can set in life. Like every day you're trying to get a little bit stronger, like from last week or yesterday. Even if it is a 2.5 on the bar that you're trying to do for a new set of 5, like that same method and principles apply to life that you can put in. That, like, okay, I'm going to read a couple more pages a night. Like, as small or cliche as that sounds, like that does wonders in the long term. I'm going to work a little bit longer tonight, or, I'm going to do whatever it is, X, Y, and Z. And that's why I think I fell in love with this, with the sport, and you don't really need to be that athletic, like to be a powerlifter. But like there are now, it's cool that, powerlifting is growing exponentially, which is it's great to get more eyes on the sport. And you're seeing these like freak athletes now coming from whatever sport it is, like, whether it was like softball or football or, cross country, whatever it is, like, and they come into powerlifting and they're so freakishly strong. And then it's like, wait a second, they've been lifting for a year and they're deadlifting 500 plus pounds already, or like we see these high school kids that are now like actually getting legit programming that we didn't get when we were young. And they're following like these programs that are actually meant to get you stronger. Because I don't know about you, but like in middle school and high school, we were like cutting out bodybuilding magazines and just like doing whatever it told us there. Or like, I remember going to like animalpack.com and they used to have forums, and you would just go on the forums and just like read about it and like trying to figure out like what to do.
Yeah.
Being that young, we were like, okay, we're just going to train twice a day because we'll get twice as strong if we do twice a day. We had no idea what we were doing, but now like, and we can kind of go down this rabbit hole too, but it's like a blessing and a curse with the social media that like everything is open and there's free programs everywhere. But at the same time, I talk to these younger guys, like a lot of the guys that go to the Mecca or at Berserker or wherever it is. And you can tell that they're like, I have to constantly keep telling them, they're like, hey man, like whatever program you're doing, just do it. Like, is it 12 weeks? Do the whole fucking 12 weeks, dude. Do not stop. Do not switch. Like whatever your friend is doing, it doesn't fucking matter. Just keep doing this program. Cause it feels like a lot of the younger guys are just like, I don't like, I'm getting a little bit stronger, but like, I feel like I could get a lot more stronger on this program. And then they jump over to another program and it's like, I don't know. Like, I'm not seeing any results in like 8 weeks. Okay, I'm going to jump over to the next program. So it's like great and terrible at the same time.
No, yeah, I think that the option, this is a psychological mind fuck that I think about every once in a while. And there's data on the amount of options that we have and the confusion that it creates. So if you're on fucking Netflix and you have 120 different movies to look from, you're going to search for half an hour, 45 minutes.
Yep.
But if Netflix gave you 2 options, it's going to take you about 10 seconds. So I think we get confused and we get almost flustered with too much option, which I agree. I think social media and I think the internet has created this amazing potential and opportunity. But it's not filtered in any way that can help us come down to really positive decision making. You know what I mean? And I know that when I very first started, I would see the potential of something and you see and you feel the novelty of something. You're like, oh, this has potential. And I've been on this program for 2 weeks, but if I jump over to this one, then it's going to make it even better. But you have no way of creating a foundation because you haven't seen anything through. So you can't see your weaknesses. You can't see all the pockets to where, you may be not well adapted, or you may not have, your movements correct. Like you and I know how important it is to have really good technique in just compound lifts, So if you never figure out the importance of those particular lifts, then it doesn't really matter what new thing you jump to, because you're never going to figure out mind muscle connection. You're never going to figure out tension. You're never going to figure out, core stability, anything like that. If you're constantly moving. And so it is kind of like a life lesson that you can take into everything else. Is like, you have to maintain the course and have the faith that things are going to build slowly. If you maintain the discipline and the consistency, if you continually try to grow through even the things that they're confusing or that seem boring. Like that's one of the hardest parts I think about powerlifting, is because it's so repetitive and monotonous. You'll know real fast if you're going to be a powerlifter or not, whether you're, a powerlifter for a year, or whether you're a powerlifter for 10 years or 50 years or whatever. Like that gets really mentally hard when you're physically doing the same things over and over, and you're reaching for the smallest increments, but you get so stoked on the platform when you do, right?
Yeah.
That's why I tell guys, like, stop worrying about being the strongest before you get on the platform, because you'll get stronger after you get on the platform, because you know the energy, your competition, things to look for, where you fucked up, get on the platform with a good methodology and a good feel for how the movements work and how competition works. And then after that, you'll grow even more, because you know what the energy is like on a formal platform, like competing.
Yeah, I tell everybody that, like, if they're powerlifting or a quote unquote powerlifter, but have never competed, and they're like, I just got to get a little bit more strong. Like, I'm looking at these records, I think I could break X, Y, and Z. It's like, dude, you go into your first competition, and like, it might go all to shit, dude. You don't know how you might step on that platform and be scared as shit, man. Like, you might just tank, like everything might go out the window. You might lose like your train of thought of commands and not listening, and then screw up, and then that just snowballs, and it's like, you're never going to have the perfect meet ever. Like, there's always going to be something that you could have done better, or like, and think about every competition you go to, what you learn about yourself. Like, I've learned a little bit about myself, or like what I can do better for the next competition from competing itself. And that's what I keep telling people. It's like, dude, just just compete. Like, see what that's realistically, it doesn't matter what you did in the fucking gym, dude. Like, in this like sterilized room that like you control all of the X, Y, and Z's for. It's like, put yourself in the arena and let's see what you're made out of. And let's see how you react to getting punched in the face when Zach fucking gives you a red light for depth.
You would bring that up. Yeah, I'm just, I'm strict ref. But you want to build good athletes, and you know as well as I do, there's an intensity and a formality and a strictness in every sport that separates the hobbyists from the actual lifters, regardless of how well of a lifter, quote unquote lifter, they are, regardless of your dot score. I love watching technical athletes because their setups are consistent and their lifts are strict. And so the calls, they get easy because the lifter is consistent every time. I mean, you have that little bit of deterioration as you get more towards maximal load. But dude, I know when I've seen people compete and I see them step up again, I'm like, okay, I know about where they're going to be. I know what their speed is like. I know, where they tend to have problems. And so that consistency actually makes me a better ref. But I definitely am known as a red lighter, especially on the bench. So
Yeah, but you need those like you can't be giving out white lights, like we all know those refs that are kind of easy. Like I'd rather have, there's a rule book for a reason. Like you have rules for a reason. You can't just throw it out the window and be like, okay, we're just gonna fucking not use this. Like you're just going by what it says in the rules. Like whatever, what does it say? That your hip crease has to be underneath the top of your knee or whatever it is. Like, okay, we're just gonna go by that. Like I can't deviate from that.
Yeah. Well, if you think about it, so if that was the rule, and the rule is technically parallel, it's the hip crease below the top of the knee, then the only thing that stands in people's way is their fear or their physical inability that keeps them from hitting that depth. Because if all of us were able to body squat, and you squat down to like almost where Olympic lifters hit, they get way, but it's an explosive movement. But if there was less fear about it, and you knew confidently where that spot was, and you trained that spot, then it'd be less of a problem, because people are emotional because of their own fear of getting down to that point, because it sucks to be in the bottom of a squat and think that you might get stuck there, or you might not be able to get it up, or you might go out of form and hurt yourself or whatever. I get it. But you get it, right? It's like, it's a shitty spot to be in, but that's where the emotion doesn't fucking matter. And so you see the people that get mad at the refs for making a call that they feel is wrong, right? But to me, it means that the fear of getting to that point wants to give you an excuse of why you should have a decision that is in your favor. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
In a weird way, does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because what if we said that the rule is not parallel, the rule is 2 inches below parallel? How many people would actually get even farther to that depth? I know it sounds, it kind of goes against the physical logistics and everything. You lose tension and all that kind of stuff. But if the rules were to change, the athletes will change. So there's always going to be people that do it, that hit the depth, that make the rule, and there's always going to be people that don't. And I think it's from people's own mental limitations and their emotions that get in the way. I get scared all the time on spots. I get, and I'm still in fear of not hitting depth in competition. But I've never not put up a squat in competition, mostly just because I'm conservative. But
yeah,
you know what I mean. And I think people's own problems get in their way of what rules actually are to make competition fair.
Yeah. I don't. I've only I've seen it a couple times when I competed. I remember I competed at military nationals in 2018, and there was this major in the Army, and he got called for depth, and he just started freaking out, making a fool out of himself. And I remember we a couple of us had to go up to him and was like, dude, what are you doing? You're making a fool out of yourself. I never I understand that you're passionate and you've worked X amount of weeks or months to get to this point, and but at the same time, how could you go after a ref for their call? It's not like they can reverse a call. And you think screaming at them saying what the fuck? I've been there too. I remember there was a lockout deadlift at a local meet, and one of our refs called me for a lockout on deadlift, and I thought that I was locked out, but I didn't say anything. I was pissed because I watched the video and I was pissed, but there's nothing I can fucking do. So that's the last lift. I got back. I was fucking sitting there grinding my teeth motherfucker. I'm not going to go up there. I'm not going to get my medal or whatever. fuck them, this is over. And then I'm like, what am I doing, dude?
Yeah.
This is nothing in the grand scheme of things. Like,
Yeah.
okay, I didn't get my lockout, whatever. Okay. And then I was like, okay, well, let's go up to her and like ask her politely, like, hey, what did you see? Like, what am I doing wrong? So I know what to do better next time. You know, I didn't freak the fuck out. Like, but I, you know, when your emotions are going, like, I understand when your emotions are high, like that's a lot of weight, you know, and like you're pumped up and sometimes you say shit when you know, you don't mean to say, but at the same time, like take a step back for a second, breathe a second, like, okay. And then go up to him after, maybe even after the meet and be like, hey, or after the attempt, I think they say, be like, hey, what did you see? What am I doing wrong? Okay, I'll do better next time. Whatever. It is what it is.
No, it's so, I mean, if I saw somebody in the gym, and they're, you know, they're super strong, you know, they're squatting 4, 5, 6 plates, whatever. If their squat is an inch high, it's still a strong freaking squat. Would it pass in competition? No, but like that's still a good squat. Like you'd still get the same potential gain from an inch high squat than you would a parallel squat. It's a great squat, man. I'm not going to give anybody flack about that. But it obviously wouldn't work in competition. So I think you're right. I think emotions, you're so excited about the win that your pain shows when it doesn't go the way that you want. But I think that's real honest maturity, I guess, is knowing how to handle situations. And that's stoicism, is not feeling emotion, but knowing how to endure them and knowing how to process them and knowing how to not react in ways that don't make sense or that don't give you any gain in any sort of direction. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it just takes time to learn that, you know. It's like
it super sucks.
It's shitty to miss a lift, for sure. Like I feel bad for people, like, but like maybe you should take a look at yourself and be like, did I do everything in training to like do this? Or was my coach blowing smoke up my ass and telling me that I was locking out when I really wasn't locking out? Like, let's go back and like, let's check this out. Maybe I fucked up. Maybe I interpreted the rules wrong. Maybe I've been pulling wrong or squatting high this whole time. Like, and people have just been in my corner saying like, you're doing great, Johnny. Like my mom is telling me, good job. And she has no idea what the fuck I'm doing, but like, I'm getting these positive feedback loops in this echo chamber of people that are just like, wow, you are doing great. You know, that's a whole different thing, but it's like, that's why you hire a coach, and your coach should be telling you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear. You know, it's like, dude, I want to be told like, dude, your squat sucks. Like you need to do this. No, truly, like I want to hear that, you know, I need this, like you need it. Like you're not going to get any better when someone's just telling you you're doing everything great. Like your squat is beautiful. Like break it down for me. Like how bad is it? You know, and you know, like I don't expect my coach to be my friend. And like I have friends that I coach personally, and like, you know, I'm not trying to be an asshole and tell you like, hey, you need to do this better, or like you need to squat lower, because guess what? In competition, this ain't gonna fucking count. But like, if I'm not gonna say it, no one else is gonna say it. Truly.
Yeah.
And like, I'd rather say it now and say like, hey, your fucking deadlift sucks. And I'm not gonna say it that way. But like,
yeah,
hey,
you might.
You need to do this, that, and the other, or this shit. Like, this shit is, you're gonna get red lighted on the platform.
Yeah. And
say it then them get on the platform and then bomb out, and then them feel terrible, you know? Yeah.
No, I mean, friendship, I think that I've figured out is really based on honesty. And I think that the strength of connection is really built on that honesty. You know, obviously I don't want to hurt your feelings, but I want to tell you the truth so you aren't blindsided by something like that.
Yeah, you need, you know? And who's going to tell you if it's not your friends or like your close circle? Like,
yeah,
Like you're just gonna, and there are a lot of people, and maybe people should take a look at their circle, that they're
Yeah.
surrounded by like yes man, that like,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, I want to do this, yes, that's a great idea, when you're like, dude, that's stupid as shit, like what are you doing? Like, I'd rather, like, yes, it sucks, like truth hurts, like it does, but like I'd rather be hurt for 10 seconds and then actually think about it than like waste maybe time, money, resources on something that was a fucking stupid idea and get like in trouble, or like get like down the road and it's like, why didn't someone tell me this was a stupid
Hmm.
idea? You know, like just give me the punch in the face, dude. Rip
Yeah.
off that band-aid. Like tell me what, like you need that feedback. Like I don't, you can't constantly keep like tooting your own horn and having like this positive feedback from your people around you, and then
Hmm.
you walk down this path, and that's what's scary, man. Like, okay, you have that, and then you walk down this path, and then you're fucked. Like, then you fall off this bridge, dude. And it's like you created these people, like, and that's why it's really important. Like you always hear it, like you're the combination of the three people you hang out with the most,
Hmm.
and it's like you take a look around your life, and you're like, okay, well, I talked to so and so, this person, like I'm in a relationship with this person or whatever, and like some of the hardest things you have to do is one, cut off people that are like leeches, and maybe you don't even know they're like that bad,
Yeah.
um
Well, because
but
everything's so, I don't know, packaged nicely.
yeah, well, and especially
So
if
it's
they're
easy.
making you feel good, dude, like
Yeah.
you have a friend that's just like constantly like feeding you what you want to hear and not what you need to hear, like
Hmm.
you won't even know in that moment that like that person isn't good for you.
Hmm.
They're taking you down this bad path. Like,
Hmm.
I don't know. That's scary as fuck to me. Like,
No, it's so from my own experience, and the problem is your internal view of self can get closer to what you want it to be, but it's never going to be exactly the external view from other people. You
mm-hmm.
know, you'll never know exactly how people see you. You can start to get a really good idea. You start paying attention to people's reactions and how they have conversations with you, how they treat you, and everything. But it's like I'll never know exactly what you think of me, and the closest I'll get is whatever you decide to tell me, right? And something that I've been kind of going through the last few years, and I think this is super important for people. And progress is movement. I don't care, how many times you go in a direction and you fuck up and you have to come back to a main path, or you have to go an even higher or lower direction. And you just don't know where you're going, and you're kind of wandering. Like progress is movement. Even if it's in the dark, progress is movement. And I found myself, I found guys that I attached to a few years ago that meant something to me because of the person that I was a few years ago. People that were more tied to their emotions, people that could make me feel relative, people that could make me feel like, okay, well, even if I'm a victim, like, they can tell me why I am this victim. But over the last few years, I found myself becoming friends with, and then also finding role models and father figures that are more and more hardened than the first original guys that
Mm-hmm.
I was attached to. And to me, that means that I'm making some sort of progress, even if I don't understand it. And I'm finding more and more of the things that I personally think that I need. There's you guys that kind of keep me rigid enough to the point where I can understand the hard stuff, like the discipline and the consistency and what that takes. But even my role models, I'm figuring out. I went from I can't remember the guy's name, but I went from a guy that is very had was a lot more feminine, had a higher feminine energy, and knew a lot about psychology and the emotional needs of men, which is still an important thing, to guys that are like Andy Frisella or Eddie Milet or God, who's that? I can't remember the other guy's name, but guys that are more hardcore and straight to the point. Because even though I've learned a lot of stuff about my own emotions and my own needs, my own self-awareness, I also need these guys that go past the bullshit, that actually are going to help me stay in a mindset of wanting to create positive action and consistent action, and, see past the things that don't fucking matter, because action, kind of is the important thing for me to get to where I want. Business, finances, good relationships, good experiences. I have to get through a lot of the bullshit that I tell myself, and it helps with my own internal self-talk. So I found myself connected to even more and more hard guys.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think this necessarily means that this is every guy's path. We're all unique in a certain way. And I think there's definitely guys that are overly masculine, that are superficial, that need to soften up a little bit to be, to know empathy, to know compassion, to know how to be inclusive, to know how to understand people and know that there's different views on the world. So I think it depends on maybe where you start. But I guess where I'm taking this is I want to kind of know your idea on what you think is happening. And this is going to be, you just answer to the best of your ability. Like, what do you think is happening with men today? And we'll maybe stick to the American culture. Because I see a lot of problems. And I think it lands on both sides of, maybe too soft, too sensitive, too emotional. And then also guys that are too tough, too direct, too abrasive, too closed-minded. Like, where do you see men today? What do you think our problems kind of are? Because I think the health of men is where a lot of our progress really, really is at. Like our potential progress. Does that make sense?
Yeah. No, it does. Dude, it feels like all of our structures are like crumbling, and like we had this definition of like everything, of men, of women, of, of all these kind of structures, and it's all getting eroded. Like people are starting to question what it is to be X, Y, and Z for everything across the board. Right. Mm-hmm. I think men are kind of starting to lose their path, because it's like, well, is that traditionally what, like that was traditionally what men were supposed to be like, but it's the 21st century, Zach. Like, we got to adapt to the times. Like, you got to be caring, or you got to have these other traits that, there's something to say about like carrying the load in the family structure, and being in a traditional sense, what someone would picture a male as, of like, trying to think of the right words, like being hard and not showing your emotions, and doing all those things that they would say a typical male would used to be. But at the same time, like, something to say about showing your emotions and telling people how you feel about, how they make you feel, or how, so I think it just sucks, because it's a lot of men are getting lost and losing their sense of identity. Right. And it's like, how do you go back and try to teach these young men? And that's why I think Jordan Peterson was so, he's so big right now, is like, he even talks about it. He's like 99% of his audience is men, because they're losing their sense of like identity, of like, well, what the fuck am I supposed to do in this world that's telling me that I shouldn't be this way, but I want to be this way, but everything's pushing against me to be this way. But there's something to say about doing, like, I don't know. It's a loaded question. I don't know where.
Yeah, I ask a lot of those.
I don't know where it goes from here, but I do see that it's like crippling people, that it's crippling men, because they're starting to believe that they're not manly because they don't have these traits that, and then there's like huge pushback of like, you see like Liver King over there being like, oh, I'm this primal guy, it's like, you have that really far of the spectrum of that guy. And then you have like someone that's like, I don't know, maybe more feminine, and just being like, oh, we don't need to have this, men is just a category. Well, that is the the hierarchy of, it's like the postmodernism theory of like taking down the structure of what is actually man. Well, that was basically oppression, that, you know, all these categories that a man falls into. So we can't have that anymore. So it's like, I think I think it falls somewhere in the middle. But where do we fucking go from here? Like, it's kind of scary to see that, like, that you see like the mainstream media really pushes the narrative of like, the family structure kind of again being eroded. Like, it's okay if you're not getting married anymore, because we're seeing like divorce rates going up and marriages go down now. And there's something to say about like having a man and a woman in the household, right? But now we're seeing the erosion of just the family structure, even if it's men marrying men or female marrying female. Like, that whole structure is like, you know, again, with like the Tinders and all that kind of stuff. Like, now it's just easy to be like, okay, well, I don't have to get married because I can be with X, Y, and Z for the next fucking 100 years, and I can just bounce around from person to person. And like, that's like another conversation.
Yeah. No, I think that the extreme ends is almost what you're talking about. Like, there's and being in the middle is that spectrum. You don't have to be directly in the middle. It's being along a spectrum, because all of us are too complex and all of us are too different, I think. You know? And yeah, like there's these hyper masculine guys that, you know, kind of fit the whole security provider, protector kind of image, you know, in its most basic form. And I think at some point that's evolutionarily that's kind of something that we need as a good, strong foundation to be able to be respected as a man, or, you know, to kind of be trusted as a man, to know that you have a foundation of goals and values that mean something to you, that whoever you're dating or whoever you're in relationship with or not in relationship with, like, it shows your character, I think, you know. And then on the other, but I can see how rigid that can go. And I think we get too carried away with defining everything in our own terms, you know, and deciding what is right and wrong. You know, we get way too carried away with the identity of gender roles and what those actually mean. And, you know, I don't think there's anything necessarily wrong with older traditional relationships if that's what people desire. But I think what also bothers me, which I think is what you were saying a little bit, with not having a foundation and being a little too all over the place, is you have, you know, the men that are on the other side that may be more feminine, but because of that femininity, if it's too much, then they white knight and they take on everything that just makes them a hero, right? So they're missing a foundation. They're missing a structure, because they're this is going to be a super bad reference and it's super corny, but you know that weird little Pokemon, the Ditto thing that kind of transforms to whatever other form. That's exactly what that is, you know, is like, it's going to transform into whatever it needs to survive. But that doesn't make you a very good individual, male or female, if you don't have some sort of structure of who you are and you know, a maintained character, so people can trust and respect whatever it is that you're, you know, that you exist for, whatever reasons you exist for, you know. And that's the side that kind of bothers me the most at this point, is because there's no way to pinpoint exactly who somebody is if they're always just there to please. And I think that's where I was having problems the most with my own self, was I was looking for so much external validation just to get affection, love, intimacy, friendship, whatever, that people could disappear out of my life really quickly because I was only being what I thought they wanted me to be, which can be kind of a sixth sense for people, and they can be turned off really quickly when they figure out that you're just trying to please them. Because when you're just trying to please somebody, isn't it almost like I guess it's hard to trust. It's hard to trust that anyone that just wants to be your jester almost. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
Dude, crazy rant. But yeah, I think it's important to, I like to ask guys like you these types of questions because I think you do hold a very strong foundation of who you are and what you're after. And like you're saying with Jordan Peterson, like he's built this foundation for guys that feel really fucking lost, where everything's a little too fluid and they don't know what to attach to, and they're trying not to suffer. And one of the things that he talks about is you're going to suffer regardless, but you get to choose the way that you do so.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So yeah, I mean, it's a big deal, but I think in my own terms, I think foundation for every man is what's going to actually help us regain control of our individuality and the value that we truly give to the world, rather than bending to everybody else's rules or wants, maybe. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's exhaustive at that point, man. Yeah. I spend way too much time on my head, probably. But for everybody that's listening to this episode, is there anything that you want to maybe promote or give anybody a little bit of peek on what's going to be coming for the Until Death brand?
Yeah, we got singlets coming.
What?
Yeah.
Okay, that's going to be legit.
Yeah.
You just threw that out there. No problem.
I don't care. Yeah, we got singlets coming. So that was another step. Man. Yeah, we're doing another. I got that new T-shirt that I showed you yesterday because I said,
yeah, I'm not gonna show anybody that one. I'm stoked about it. I just want that one for myself.
Yeah, so you can wear that during competitions or when you're a ref underneath your ref shirt. You can get a peek of what you're all about. And then we have another. I'm doing another volume 2 of a shirt that you like that you were wearing yesterday. I showed you that one. Yeah, that would be cool. Some different colors coming out. What else? I usually take it one step at a time. Like I'm not trying to push out to, like I'm pretty fluid at like what I do. It's like, okay, I have a lineup of like, okay, I'm going to push out this and this and this. And usually it gets all jumbled up and I'm like, actually, no, fuck that. Cross that out. I'm going to push this next, it changes like every day. So, yeah. So singlets that, well, we got you, Lynette and Kristen competing in USPA Nats next week.
Scared out of my mind, but still.
We'll be at, unfortunately you guys won't be there, but next weekend, we have Border Wars, Oregon, Idaho, the 28th. We'll be there. We'll have a booth there. And then next month we're going to a bodybuilding competition. We're putting up a booth there. I should have more details, but I don't know if off the top of my head, but we're going to be somewhere in Boise. Some bodybuilding competition.
Are you guys, is the Until Death team and business still looking into maybe building a competition of their own?
Yeah, we were gonna do one in late August, but it kind of fell through, which it is what it is. So, but that's still on the horizon. Like, so what I want to do is do something that Boise hasn't seen before. Like there's a lot of great venues that we don't take advantage of. Like usually in the Boise area, like it's a lot of hotels and just gyms that put on the events in the gyms or in hotels. Yeah. And it's like, man, we got so much cool shit. Like we got the Knitting Factory, we got the Revolution House. Like we got all this crazy stuff that you can make lights and has like legit speaker systems. And like you can bring all these people in and do it. Like I don't know. I know why we're not doing that, but that could be a conversation to have at another time. But I understand. I don't understand why, but it's frustrating that it's cool. I understand why. I understand that it's easy to do it at a hotel or like a gym, and it's what we've always done. but at the same time, like, let's fucking change it up, boys. Like, come on now.
Dude, hell
Let's
yeah.
make this badass.
So you've definitely got some stuff on the horizon.
Yeah, we got
pretty
some
fun.
tricks up our sleeves for sure. We got all kinds of weird stuff going on.
Hell yeah, dude. So if you were to give out some advice to whether it be from you specifically, personally, or the brand, because I want to end on a high note, and I want people to have something to attach to or something to be inspired by, I guess.
Okay.
So don't worry about being Marcus Aurelius, but do you have anything you want people to know? Because dude, it's easy for me to be friends with you because you're around to inspire me just by existing. But what would you tell people out there?
I tell people if you have anything that you want to do in your life, like life is way too short not to do, unless it's, as long as it's not hurting other people, like do whatever the fuck makes you happy. And like, if you're not happy with your situation, like quote unquote, love your life or change it. Like, I don't remember where I heard that from or learned that from. Someone said it. It's not my quote. But for Until Death, like I've always wanted to do a clothing company or like just make t-shirts. And it took me up until I'm turning 30 this year, but I'm 29. So until 29 to do it. Mm-hmm. And I was, as anything, like you do something and you're like, fuck, I don't know how to do this. Like I'm building a business. Like I got to make a website. Like I got to get all these like LLCs. Like I got to get all this tax information. Like I got to build an Instagram. I got to fucking do marketing. Like I got to do all this shit. And it falls back on me. So like you have this pile in front of you, but it's like, dude, just walk step by step, do a little something day by day. And it's like, you're going to regret it. Like on your deathbed, realistically, whatever you don't do, you're going to regret and be like, why didn't I at least try? Like, I'd rather fucking try and fail than not do it at all. Like, and I think that's kind of, it's definitely, there's something to say about doing something and getting momentum and then being like, oh shit, like I did that. Like now I can do this. Like, I'm not fucking scared to do that because, I did this, the momentum, you kind of jump, that momentum pushes you to another avenue and you're like, okay, I got a little bit of momentum to do this now. But I think Until Death has taught me is like corny or cliche. Like you can do anything that you set your mind to. And there's something to say about putting something out into the quote unquote universe or whatever you believe in, like praying to God or, saying like, I'm going to do this. And then, the universe or whatever, God or whatever you believe, like kind of lines up and starts putting a path forward to do that certain thing. And, that's again, a conversation for another time that we can go dive into. But I just think that you can do whatever it is. And I think that people should do whatever it is the fuck they want to do it. Like life is way too short, man. And like, I think it's because I'm about to turn 30, but it's like everything's revving up, man. Everything's revving up. Like, okay, 30, like by the time I know it, I'm going to be 40. Like by the time I'm going to be 50. Just, yeah.
No, dude, that's perfect because I think we kind of separate ourselves from death and we don't realize that we're not immortal. And death will come.
Yeah, sometimes sooner than later, as we've learned in life, within family members, or if you have friends that have died at a young age, like unfortunately, I've had some friends that have died at a young age, and like, but sometimes like when you're young, like you don't realize that, and then it's like you start getting older, and I'm glad that we're coming to the realization, or I'm coming to the realization now that it's like, man, you got to do whatever it is you want to do because you might only have one life, dude. And I'm not dying with any regrets, dude. Like, let's do the pedal the metal, baby. Let's go.
Yeah, dude, let's fucking go.
Let's fucking go. Send it. Hashtag send it.
Hashtag send it. Yeah. Shout out to another great brand out there. So where can everybody find you? You and the brand.
Me and the brand. Yeah. So Instagram's our biggest thing. Until Death Barbell Co. is our @ and then same thing on Facebook. We don't I just post the same shit I post on Instagram to Facebook. So if you want to follow Facebook, I don't even know if people use Facebook anymore. Like, I'm not going to plug our TikTok because we're hardly on that, but I guess that's the cool thing to do now is to TikTok everything, but we don't ever use it. So
Yeah, but if you're pulling pretty heavy on Instagram, then be easy for
Instagram,
everybody to find you.
And then untildeathbarboco.com. That's where we
Perfect.
put all of our stuff. So and then be on the lookout for Until Death Barbell podcast soon.
Ooh, okay. Here we go. We go.
So,
all right, man. Well, it's cool to have you. You're one of my favorite people. You're an awesome friend. I appreciate it. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me, Zachary. Love you, buddy. I'm excited to see you kill nationals.
We're gonna do it, man. You're gonna do it. The three of us are gonna put up some numbers. I'm stoked.
It's gonna be very exciting. So, but yeah, thanks for having me on.
Yeah, man. For everybody else out there, stay strong, stay rebel-minded. Hey guys, I hope that all things we've brought here, including the people, have helped you change the way that you see the world. And if it has, then it would help us so much if you leave a rating and a comment on iTunes or give any feedback wherever you listen to the RMP. Thank you for listening in, and don't forget to follow and subscribe. Question everything, my friends.